Hey, what's up guys, John here. The biggest cyber attack in American real estate history has happened.
Mr. Cooper is the latest to fall victim to the ubiquitous cybersecurity hack.
More than 4 million people are impacted.
This started in late October. They said 4.1 million Americans would be impacted. Now that number is over 14 million Americans. 14 million property owners. I'm talking social security numbers, bank account information, personal information, date of birth, you name it. All now leaked on the dark web. I'm going to show you exactly what's going on here because I think this is going to have a really big impact on Americans that own property, that plan to refinance. They look to obtain a line of credit. They want to get a credit card. When you have negative and derogatory items on your credit report, if someone takes your identity, it has a monumental impact on your life.
Identity theft is not a joke, Jim. Millions of families suffer every year.
Well, look at what's happening to now 14 million Americans and why I believe paying close attention to your credit score and making sure that everything is on the up and up is more important today than ever before. Please hit the like button. Hit the like button. YouTube will share this content to educate more people about what's going on. And if you'd like to fix your credit, if you have any late payments, medical bills, charge-offs, foreclosures, bankruptcies, or repossessions, any negative item on your credit report, go to greatcreditfast.com and click the link in the description just below this video. Schedule a free strategy session for tomorrow, for Tuesday. Take a look at this. So, mortgage giant Mr. Cooper hit with cyber attack, possibly affecting 14 million customers. So this came out this morning, or this afternoon, 12:53. Now, November 2nd, they said it was only going to impact 4.1 million customers. But when you look at how fast it's growing, almost 4 times so far, 4.1 to 14 million, look at this. Mortgage and loan giant Mr. Cooper, who's top 3 biggest mortgage lender in America, right? He's one of the most successful, his company is one of the most successful in America. Hit with a cyber attack that involves substantially all of our current and former customers. Sensitive personal information according to filings with state and federal regulators. The personal information in the impacted files includes your name, your address, your phone number, your social security number, your date of birth, your bank account number. The company said in a filing with the Maine Attorney General's office on Monday. So look at this for context. They're saying 14 million customers, right? Well, if you look at Florida, 56.3% of Floridians have a mortgage that own a property here. Out of 10.2 million, you're looking at about 5 million, give or take about 5 million property owners, right? That's 3 times the size of Florida. That's how big of a problem this is. And Florida, you have a lot of snowbirds, a lot of retirees, a lot of people own their homes outright here. 17% of Americans own their homes outright in Florida, which is a startling number, right? Look at this. In all of America, you have 85 million owner-occupied homes. 85 million owner-occupied homes impacting 14 million, right? So you can see the size of this problem that's now being released as of this morning. On October 31st, the company noted suspicious activity in certain network systems according to the federal filing. Our forensic review, engagement with law enforcement and regulators, and defense of litigation is ongoing. The company said in a statement, additionally, our forensic review has determined that personal information relating to substantially all of our current and former customers was obtained from the security during this incident, from our systems during this incident. More than 14 million customers could be affected. Now, look at this. As that's happening, 2 days ago, home buyers stress over the impact of CTS cyber attack, another cyber attack hitting real estate. CTS, which provides IT services to law firms, said systems were still not back to normal after more than 3 weeks of disruption. Now, what's crazy to me is all this conversation about cyber attacks that have been, forefront, right in front and center the last couple of years. The movies coming out about cyber attacks. Everybody is talking about this, and now it's boom, one after the next. And it's just, if you look at it, just a quick Google search. 1 hour ago, Iran petrol stations hit with cyber attack. They're talking 70% of Iran's gas stations are just simply inoperable right now. I mean, the 1 hour ago, like everything. Maryland, 3rd highest risk for cyber attack. Vans store. I mean, North Face, Vans. I mean, you're looking at 10 pages. If you look at, let's just call it the last 24 hours. Last 24 hours, you're 10 pages in, right? 10 pages in, all different stories about, police warn of it, right? About all different cyber attacks. Norton Healthcare says 2.5 million people potentially impacted by ransomware attacks 7 hours ago. Like, this is happening everywhere. This is happening everywhere. But look at what's happening here. Terrifying hacks of critical infrastructure have arrived. America is not ready. This came out 5-6 days ago, right? December 12th. said on November 25th, the Iranian hackers, which have ties to Iranian state itself, took control of part of the municipal water authority in western Pennsylvania near Pittsburgh. Crews switched to manual systems to deliver water to 2 towns. The hackers entered the system through an Israeli-made programmable logic controller, which has successfully targeted attacks in Israel in the past couple months. The Iranian hackers were able to get in with little effort. Critical infrastructure in the U.S. contains industrial control systems that are known to be easy targets for cyber attacks. Many of these vital networks are incredibly permitted to determine on their own that the level of security is appropriate, which means they're essentially unprotected. The attack occurred less than a month after the Environmental Protection Agency rescinded a rule requiring water systems to include cybersecurity testing. Since this attack, hackers reportedly breached 4 other utilities in the U.S. So you start to look at all these different situations that are unfolding all over the country, all over the world. You have to ask yourself, are we walking into the big one? I mean this big attack that's going to completely change America. Because that's what they were warning. They were talking about, on the low end, being about a $3.5 trillion loss. And on the high end, somewhere around $17 trillion in global loss on a massive attack. They even went on to say, Klaus himself, saying that a cyber attack would make everything in 2020 look like a mere disturbance. Hospital services, banking, everything, right? Now, what I personally think is going to happen is I believe we're going to start to see, as the economy gets worse, as things get worse, you're going to start seeing more fraud. You're going to start seeing more security breaches, more cyber attacks. You're going to start seeing a lot of people doing things they otherwise would never do simply because they're forced into a dark corner. I think we're going to see a lot of credit card fraud. We're going to start seeing a lot more of that, regardless of the severity of what happens here on the cyber front. On the other side, we're going to just start seeing a lot more of this. You want to definitely, pay very close attention to your credit report and, what's going on with your own personal situation to make sure no one's taking advantage of you. These aggressive cyber operators can not only take down infrastructure, but also induce societal panic. I mean, this is coming from The Hill magazine. Modern societies are complex and highly dependent on networks. They are, therefore, fragile. America is not nearly as resilient as it was, say, 50 years ago. Chinese hackers, what's crazy is that movie Leave the World Behind is literally about that, right? Have had their way with American infrastructure networks, reportedly hitting water utilities, major ports, and oil and gas pipelines, to name a few. There are even suggestions that China may have caused the Northeast blackout in 2003 and one in Florida in 2008. Most analysts are skeptical that Beijing was responsible for the blackout. Still in June, instantly called China's cyber espionage and sabotage an epoch-defining threat. Moreover, the 2003 annual threat assessment of the U.S. intellectual intelligence community states China almost certainly is capable of launching cyber attacks that could disrupt critical infrastructure services within the United States, including against oil and gas pipelines and rail systems. Now, if something like this did happen, America would change overnight. Like within 2-3 days, this country would look like a completely different place. It would actually get next level frightening in this country because we've had it so good for so long that many people don't realize, what would happen in the event of, you saw 2020 how, people behaved in grocery stores. People have become much more angry since then. People have become pushed financially, pushed mentally, pushed spiritually. Their relationships are more divided. If something big were to happen, you could just imagine what would likely be the net outcome just within a couple days, within a couple weeks. Things would get pretty crazy. Am I saying it's going to happen? No, I'm definitely not saying that. I don't know what could happen. But when you look at, 14 million, getting negatively impacted, you look at all these different events that are happening all over the world, you look at the movies coming out, you look at all this stuff that a couple of years ago would have been absolutely crazy. You would have never said this could ever happen. Is now becoming normalized conversation. You have to ask yourself, why? Why is this all a normalized conversation? Why is this all happening so quickly? Why are we looking at 10 pages of different results all around, more than 10 pages, past 24 hours. You're already, 17 pages in the past 24 hours. You have to ask yourself, why? What's going on? Drop it below. Let's have a conversation about this. Do you think we're walking into a very, very big situation where you're going to see millions and millions of Americans losing their personal information, their confidential information to cyber attacks and losing it to, to the dark web, because you have to realize how valuable this is to a hacker that can go out there and get personal information on 10, 20, 30, 40 million people, and then take that information on the dark web and they're, doing who knows what with it, right? This is the new normal. This is what we're walking into, and it would not surprise me to see something, very, very big happen. But I do believe that, you just want to pay attention to your own personal situation. You want to pay attention to, your credit score to make sure no one's doing anything they shouldn't be. Pay attention to your own position. Maybe you have some cash at home. Maybe you have some reserves. Just put yourself in a position to where if something did happen, if something, that 0.001% chance something did happen, you're not left high and dry. Drop below, let's have a conversation about this. And if you want to fix your credit to position yourself, what I think is going to be a massive wealth transfer in America, a massive shift in America. And I personally believe we're walking into a situation where the middle class is going to get, greatly impacted over the next couple of years. And it's going to be the haves and then the have-nots over here. You're going to want to do everything you can possibly do to put yourself in the haves so you can buy yourself options, because options is wealth in this new normal. Drop below. And if you want to fix your credit, we'd love to help you at my company, GreatCreditFast.com. You can find more information in the link below. Schedule a free strategy session for tomorrow, and I'll catch you in the next video.